My goal on this channel has always been to get as many people on bikes as possible because I want people to have the opportunity to feel what I felt when I first started biking 5 years ago. After riding so many different kinds of bikes and encountering so many different types of riders, I noticed a trend. Most people just want a practical bike that they don't feel judged or looked down on for riding. When it comes to mountain biking, when most people start out, they don't know if they want to fully commit to the sport or not, so they always ask, what's a good in-between bike that can handle some trails and some urban riding? And the traditional entry-level mountain bike is usually the go-to, but there's another bike that people never talk about and that you rarely, if ever, will see in any bike shops. And I think it's even more practical for most people. I recently took a train to Chicago, and during that long ride, it got me to thinking, why do you rarely see these bikes, if at all, in any bike shops? In a lot of bike shops, you can easily find 4 different models of the same bike, but you never see these bikes. And the bikes I'm talking about are rigid mountain bikes. Most people just want something easy to ride without all the fancy specs. And this causes people to be somewhat afraid of bike shops because they feel intimidated to even go inside. Majority of people have no interest in trying to figure these bikes out. Hell, the average person doesn't even know what a dropper post is. I've always advised people to get a hardtail for most all-around biking, but since I've been introduced to a rigid mountain bike, I realized that makes way more sense. Imagine walking into a bike shop and you're either new to the biking scene or you've been out for quite some time now, and you're met with bikes like this. And let's not even get into the prices. But on the other hand, let's say you see a bike like this in the store. This looks like a way more familiar kind of bike, and it's a lot more welcoming to the average person. No suspension to figure out, no shock pumps, and no weird explanations to give. Just pedaling and switching gears. They'll be excited about just having more aggressive tires, which will give them the impression that they can do anything on this bike. There's this misconception that you absolutely need suspension to mountain bike, which is completely false. Now, I'll be honest, I love my Trek Roscoe 9. You know I love my hardtails. But this is the most fun bike I've ever had. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it. Even though this is only my second ride, I'm feeling like this is my normal trail bike. Depending on the trail situation, I want to take this out as much as possible. I remember when I used to ride trails with so-called budget bikes and wish I could have all the fancy high-end bikes and components that I would see people riding. And now I'm thankful I never fell into thinking that's what I needed, because now I have way more fun on these bikes than I ever had on any high-end bike. Trestle Bike Park is a well-known downhill bike park here in Colorado with chairlift access. And I remember people always telling me, bro, You need a full suspension bike with at least 160 millimeters of travel to ride here. Until I went there for myself and realized you only need that if you're willing to push the limits. Back to the basics. Oh, this bike feels so good. Yeah, I think the Breezer Thunder likes this trail. I'm honestly not sure why bike shops don't carry and promote more rigid mountain bikes. In my opinion, they make a lot of sense, but there's also that misconception that rigid bikes are these pain machines, which they aren't, and majority of people I see on the trails are way overbiked anyway. I remember when I wanted the best suspension on my mountain bikes, but now honestly, I think in most cases, suspension is pretty overrated. Have a good one. I literally feel like I'm on a hardtail. I do feel my arms are really jiggly though. It's a weird feeling. This is hero dirt right here. Yeah, my arms are jiggling so much, but as far as the way the bike feels, it feels amazing. Oh, I'm having a hard time even talking because it's so fun. It just feels, it feels natural, if that's any way to put it. It's a lot of brake bumps right there though. I'm definitely not trying to talk you out of a suspension mountain bike. I'm just showing you a different side of biking and how the simplicity brought my excitement back from mountain biking. I don't know if y'all remember back in the day, but when we had no suspension and the bike was just get on it and pedal, maybe you had some gears, maybe your bike didn't. You were maybe on a mountain bike or a BMX bike, but you can just crank down on these bikes and just pedal and just have fun. That's what this bike feels like. It's so fast, and with no suspension, it makes everything so simple. I love it. Like, this is the true do-it-all bike. I know they have the trail bikes where it say, oh, this bike can do it all. No, this is the bike that can legitimately do it all and have fun, especially for the majority of people. If you told me a few years ago I would be making a video like this, I would think you were crazy. But I guess the saying is true, you can't knock it until you try it.